Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Radio. Hello, hello. So we are doing our Numerology and Card readings show today. Hello, B. Hello, Sabrina, Alejandra. Welcome. So, thank you for everybody coming in and popping down some of your numbers. That always is super helpful because then we're ready to go. Just the way that we do it over here is if you come on in, if you want a reading, then just pop down your consent. Say, I want a reading. You can ask for a card reading. You can ask for numerology. If you put down your numbers, you're asking for numerology, or vice versa. If you want numerology, pop down your numbers. And that way, it goes straight into an aspect of your chart. And the other way, I'm going to just feel and pull cards. And that's how it goes. And so, hello, Angela. Hello, Aspen. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. And hello. Hey, Lori. It's great to see you. So I always start with a topic, and then away we go. That's how I get into the energy. And that's how I love talking about how we open up as individuals, right? Because a lot of times we don't just start and go into a reading. We have to open up our energy. So there's various processes of that, how people open up their energy. And that's the topic I want to talk about today. So traditionally, in mediumship, there's a phrase called sitting in the power. And then there's also meditation. Now, those two things are separate, very similar, but separate. Sitting in the power is the intent to know spirit and know your higher self. And you're allowing that communication to come to you in that form. And you actually have to learn how to ground the energy. So it's a meditative experience, but you are allowing the understanding of you paying attention to a certain degree and allowing you to have this conversation with spirit where either right before sitting in the power, you ask for them to work with you. And so you're aware with that intention, or you ask for them to work with you while you are sitting within the power. And it builds your abilities and how to work with the spirit world. With meditation, you are a little bit more passive, I definitely would say. Everyone has different intentions for meditation. And so, a lot of times we let our mind go, or we let it to be free in meditation in a way where we don't want the busy thoughts. We wouldn't want busy thoughts sitting in the power either. But with meditation, you can kind of let go, and wherever you go with meditation, maybe that's what you need. Or you can have a specific meditation where you're working on your breath, right? Or you want focus, right? With, like, let's say sometimes people meditate when looking at a candle flame and they get into a rhythm of focus. Or different styles where they're reviewing. You're using your time to go within in a different manner, and you're using your time to build different skills. So if you ever heard sitting in the power, it's different for that intention, and slightly different with how you use your energies. Now, you can also sit within your own self, and you can do higher self work. Yes, that's a form of sitting in the power, absolutely. But in a less traditional sense, you can do journaling, okay, in a way where you are touching in with only your soul. You can journal and sit in the power and do that. Absolutely. So I just want to talk about it. It's developing your soul when you sit in the power. When we meditate, we are developing our soul, but it's not as intentional. Sometimes we can just be. Sometimes we can just be, or we want meditative benefits for our body exclusively, our brain, right? To relax our mind. Um, so journaling is really, really powerful. You can take it from a meditative thing also into a channeling sort of thing. And then that's where it kind of links again to sitting in the power. And what you're doing is you're just opening up what comes to you when you quiet your mind. A lot of times people's minds are too busy, and that's why they're like, I'm not getting anything, or why did it happen and work one time and then it didn't work another time? Why am I able to pick up, a feeling or a sound, and then all of a sudden it changes? Well, it's like the state of our minds. We have to train our brain. We have to train our minds to be in a place where we go, oh, when I start this happens, right? And it's true. It's just like any other skill. And the best place to do that is you have to quiet the mind, because this is all about internal work. It's not external work. And that's a very important concept that transcends over a lot of intuitive work. It is internal work. And so your internal conditions have to be with a certain peace, with a certain focus, and with a certain familiarity to do this work. And sometimes people are very naturally talented within this work, but they're able to connect because their energy just goes, oh, I actually feel comfortable, and my brain and my energy just kind of naturally goes this way. And thus I can focus on the spirit world. Thus I can focus on subtle energy or psychic energy, on and so forth. And it's not a mental skill in a way where we're using our brain in a normal way. It's a mental skill. We're actually turning off a large part of our conscious brain and just citing subconscious streams that are coming into us and coming through us. So, yeah, I know that everyone gets into a different rhythm when they do this work. And so when I talk, it helps me get into that rhythm. I know some people who put on makeup, and I will say, when I'm putting on like makeup or getting ready, or I'll just do something for myself, right? Like sometimes I'll go for a walk, or sometimes I'll just put time and attention on myself. Like you could do something as simple as clipping your, fingernails. You could be brushing your hair, and suddenly the attention and awareness is back on your energy, and you start going, oh, okay, I'm paying attention. I'm with myself. I'm going within. And if your intention is to soon read, it starts to really easily open up the energy, because you start not paying attention to just what's in front of you, and you start going into the subconscious. And so I want to put that out there to highlight this too, as well as I talk. If you're ever getting ready in the morning, or let's say you're about to go somewhere else, so you could be getting ready in the evening, like maybe to dinner, and you find yourself combing your hair or getting ready, same similar things, or even in the shower. But like, I just want to highlight when you're out and you're just preparing for a second, right? So you're not necessarily solely confined to the bathroom getting ready. You will randomly probably think about things, right? You'll think about things like, okay, like, yeah, sure, the laundry, maybe, what's going on the next day, sure. But there's a moment where your subconscious really gets activated sometimes. So, everyone listening, maybe this happens a lot to you, maybe it happens a little bit to you, but you'll start thinking about the past, or you might start thinking about randomly a loved one, okay? Or you might start thinking randomly about something happening now, and you have a certain like connection, like, oh, I never thought about it that way. It's because your subconscious mind is opening up energy, and you are essentially channeling or having other gifts at play. And since your mind is relaxed, not to be so busy, and you're focusing on something else, all this information starts coming forth. So it's really interesting, because if you've had occurrences where you think all of a sudden of grandma, or you think about mom fondly, or an old friend, you're having a mediumship experience. And if it's amplified at some of those times, you might be more of a natural medium than you thought you were. If a lot of times that you're going into your life, like your past and memories and all the way back, and yes, that could be the brain sorting itself out, but it also opens up natural faculties within you doing some psychic work. Now, in order to do psychic work, we have to make peace with ourselves. So if we're constantly thinking about the past, sometimes we're in a bit of trauma. And so if we bridge that with healing work, actually, we're really naturally sensitive to picking up the energy of others and what they've gone through in their past. Okay. So uh, you can see how it goes hand in hand. If you're thinking about the current a lot and you're like, wow, I've never seen that perspective before, again, you're channeling information. You're channeling more than what just the world is meeting you with. And suddenly you might be thinking about a friend or a family member, and just the reminder of, hey, let me just check in if they're okay. Or, hey, I haven't talked to them in a long time. Or, well, the last time I saw somebody, it's taken me to their facial expression or the tone of their voice. And that made me observe something I never really considered before. And then you act through that, or through that, or both, right? So we all open up with our energy, and we all open up with accessing these subtle energies and igniting these knowings within our soul that are actually so very natural, I feel, in a lot of us. Some things are more natural than others for different individuals, but in a lot of us, these things are very natural. And it's like we slow down and we're able to have some of these experiences. And that's what we're doing a lot when we're sitting in the power, or we're meditating for spiritual intent, or we're growing our abilities. We're learning how to access our knowing and grow what we naturally have. So let's see. I'm jumping into some of the comments really quick before we get started. Everyone's coming and asking for a reading. I love it. Let's see. Okay, great. I'm just like checking in and everyone coming in. Someone says, hello, Keith. And hello to people coming in like Sabrina and Casey. And Keith says, so very true. I have been trying to make the time and trying to see what comes up too. Yeah, I think, it's important. It's important to check in with yourself. Some people some people naturally do it driving, like they don't even try. Like they'll get into just that zone, right? Because maybe traffic's a little longer or something like that. I don't recommend practicing in trick ever, but I hear that from people a lot. And think about it. Have you heard mediums talk about stories, or have you had the experience where you're driving and all of a sudden you feel someone sitting in the seat next to you? Or sometimes you're getting like these downloads of information. It's moments like this. This is just validation for that. People are talking about, yeah, it happens all the time. And sometimes you can go to your body too. So yeah, exactly. It just, when we are not focusing on the external, then reality becomes so much bigger than our body. And then we start to see things beyond what our body has been normalized to experience. So the spectrum becomes so much bigger about what reality and truth is. Okay, let's see. More and more I'm noticing that I'm not. More and more I'm noticing when I'm not. When I'm in, excuse me, when I'm in that connective state. I don't know why I wanted to say not. Angela's talking about more and more she's noticing what that connected state feels like. And yeah, it correct. It's something to become acquainted with. And sometimes we know what that is, and sometimes we're like, oh, if I could just get there. It's like, because I know it. if I could just get there. And it's just be patient. Be patient, and all you have to do is spend time with yourself. The greatest teacher, I believe, and the greatest teachers out there believe and say the similar things that I do, like with this sentiment. The greatest teacher is yourself, honestly. Like, unless you're really struggling. Okay, I'm a fan. Like, if you're really struggling, I'm a firm believer. If you're really struggling, having a hard time, and you can't get out of your own way, we don't want stress. We don't want you to bang your head against the wall. Um, you should reach out to a mentor or somebody that can guide you. If you're having, let's say, a lot of issues within the work, you shouldn't just sit alone and suffer within that. Absolutely not, especially if you're like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? It's causing you a lot of stress. But if it's a pleasant experience and you're just growing yourself, the best teacher is yourself. The best teacher is yourself with spirit, most importantly. Okay, so just sitting in the power with yourself, sitting in the energy, and you learn how to hold the energy better than anyone can ever teach you, because we all do it a slightly different way. We all know our soul and the capabilities of our soul when we really get in touch with ourselves. So what turns I guess that switch on, and the way that we work, if we give ourselves enough time, we know that way better than any suggestion. And that's true. But if you are struggling, or if you're having a lot of just insecurity or weird experiences and you do feel uncomfortable, yeah, you should reach out to a mentor. You should reach out to a trusted spiritual teacher. You should always have someone in your corner. And that's how I feel. Now, I do say with spiritual teachers too, like, if you feel like you just want another perspective and you just want to grow because you're like, why not? Like, yeah, go do it. Like, I take classes all the time because I literally love seeing other people teach, and I love hearing other people's wisdom. That said, I don't take everything on and say I'm going to be that. I don't take everything on and say, now I've been doing it wrong, I better do this. I take it in, and I have my experiences while I'm there, experiences that ignite solely within me, or are in the synergy of the room. And I learn sometimes directly from the teachers, but I learn a lot from just what the experience meant to me. And then I come home and I journal. And again, it's very self-led, a lot of this work. Okay. So cool. All right. Let's dive into readings. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's take a drink of water. Okay. Away we go, everybody. Thank you for being here. All right, so I always take it from the top at the beginning. And Sabrina, she's asking if she can have a reading. She gives me her numbers. January 4th, 1991. So we're doing the numbers right now. Doing all that lovely addition to just double checking the math. Okay. Cool. Okay. All right, good to go. So this is for Sabrina. So Sabrina, you're an attitude 5. And so attitude 5s are really fun people. They're very spontaneous. They like to be in the moment. There's an energy of like being this natural, like just life of the party. They also can be very serious. There's a lot of mental energy with the 5. So more so not, it's more so fun than serious. But all that beautiful mental energy, it's very important to keep the mind busy. It's very important to keep the body busy too for a 5. So you have to, I would say, more than a normal person, you would have to exercise or be busy or to be doing something like more physical. So you have a release of energy that's built up in the body, and to keep your mind a little busier than other people. So you'll have multiple things every day and every week where you can go, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And to have a more eclectic friend base. Variety is the name of the game when it comes to the number five. And in your placement, it's how you draw like interest from the world. Okay. So like your life path, for instance, that's a seven. And so your needs are different within that seven energy for your life path. Um, a seven means that you have to live your life in a way where you're always learning. You're always learning. So it enhances your five of needing that mental stimulation on an even further level. So it's going to be a very, very important concept in your life to have expansion. So always growing within your career, whether it's salary, whether it's like that next big step. It's going to create a lot of ambition in your life naturally, I would imagine. Let me scroll on the bottom to see if, because I'm always checking if people are here with me as I talk. So you have to expand to actually feel like you're doing something within life in a way where you're like, okay, I have this, check. I have that, check. You're in a cycle of three, and that is an important year for socializing. That's an important year for opportunity and to enjoy life in a way where you're meeting new people coming to you in a capacity that wasn't quite like the other years. So there's a lot of fun moments that are going to pop up, a lot of opportunities if you want to take even further classes or try out new things that will open up much more for next year. I actually think the emphasis on learning, whether it's higher learning or to additionally be more focused on that within your life again, that comes into play a little bit more next year. But this year's like quite busy in a good way. You're gonna have a lot of fun this year. um January, you're in a four vibration though, so that's why I'm talking about classes with a little bit of emphasis. You might feel like, it's a new year, like I should be putting my mind to something, right? Additionally, like I should, what should I be working on and stuff. And by next month, I actually think you're just gonna be, like, so busy that you can't quite tackle that, so it's gonna be, like, more of a next year ambition that gets, full bodied out within that, but it's like the start of the new year invokes some of that, okay, it would be nice, actually, it would be nice, but, yeah, this year is more for meeting people, reassessing job expansion, and, just make sure that you always have variety. Okay. Variety people, variety of experiences. That's your ticket to happiness. And make sure you travel. Travel is huge for your happiness. It could be day trips, it could be state trips, uh, it could be just so local, just get creative, um, or beyond that. So, that's what comes in for your happiness. That's what comes in for this year. And that's some advice as we open up the energy. Okay, Sabrina. If you're still in, you can pop down a comment, but I know people are in and out, especially when I take those at the beginning. Okay, so Alejandra, you're next. And so, okay, get your numbers. You're welcome, Alejandra. Okay. Attitude 4, personal day 1, and life path. Oh, I think we have another life path 7. There's always similarities at play. Okay, let me just double check the math. Yep. That's right. Yep. Making sure I double check the math. I was up early today. So my brain is like, when you've had a full day already, you're like, wake up a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'll wake up. So she's in an attitude. She has an attitude 4 placement in her chart. And so this means that Alejandra is more organized than your average person. And this is somebody who needs to plan in order to have success within their life. Like, for instance, Sabrina, who I just read, is a 5. And actually, planning is okay, but it's actually, it should be more spontaneous. It kind of just should present itself. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, that. I was looking for that, but wow, I'm gonna jump on board with that. With Alejandra, that's not good. We want planning, we want thoughts, we want careful considerations, and this is a woman who's very cerebral. And I say that because her life path is a 7-2 as well, and so 4s and 7s have a lot of mental energy. The 4 is all about learning, and the 7 is all about learning too. So these are people where, like, reading, research, um, taking courses, growing the self is very, very important. And they're always reading something and they're always sharing something with somebody. Like, hey, I sent you this link, check it out. Or, someone will bring up like a topic, and if they've heard about that topic, chances are they just scooped up a bunch of this information, and their retention level is actually pretty high. It's higher than your average. And they'll just be like, oh, speaking of this, this and this and this and this, and someone will go, how do you know that? How do you know that? And that's something that you can always use to navigate within the world, because with your 4 energy and your 7, you're so perceptive with learning, and you're so good with retention that you can really make the most of environments, and you can make the most of working with people when it comes to a situation where someone wants to know that someone is smart and reliable and capable. You can naturally showcase that quite effortlessly. Okay. Your personal day 1, and this is always fun. People who are personal day 1s, they stand out of the crowd. And so they have this energy where people naturally will listen to what you say more easier. Just 1s glow in a certain way where people just pay attention. It's like leadership energy. And so whether or not you want to be a leader, people will just listen to you more so because they feel the authority very naturally off of you. Okay. It's just something. This is a more muted number in numerology. So it's not like it doesn't come in strong, like I am a leader, but you'll notice in situations that whether it's you or another person, you might have an easier time getting your point across and getting some action done because of this initial feeling people have for you. Okay. You're in a cycle of 3 as well. So this is an important time to network. This is an important time to grow. And if you're looking for relationships or new friendships, this is the perfect year to do it. People find you very easily. You can make connections very easily within this year. I love a cycle 3. It's usually a more lighthearted year. It's usually more exciting year. It can be more fast paced. It's definitely not boring. I actually like next year a lot for you if you're growing your career. So heads up with that. I feel like there's a big expansion next year with career and knowing that, knowing thyself, knowing yourself. But this year, I do feel like it is good, even though it's a little bit busier. And just have fun, learn, grow, learn about yourself. And, as you're learning about yourself, make sure that you're still being yourself in the planning. Like when life is so fast, we kind of go like, okay, fine, fine, fine. I'll jump on board. I'll go do what you're doing. Or sure, I don't know if I can fit this into my schedule, but I'll go do that because, it's an opportunity. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss out. And this seems like a great opportunity. Well, so it's telling me within that too. It's okay to slow down, and it's okay to tell people no, and just make sure you're planning and feeling really good when you're jumping from A to B, because as long as you're still within your comfortability, I do think, again, you're going to get a lot about this year, and just to maintain that anytime someone tries to push on that, because I think there's going to be so much kind of coming at you. So Alejandra, excellent. Let's see. We're going to go on to the next. Angela. Okay, let's see. Do we pop down any information? Angela. Okay, Sabrina says thank you. Thank you, Sabrina. Angela. Okay, let's do some cards for you. Angela. Gotta feel the cards. I don't just pull them. Okay. Okay. So with Angela, I like it. I like it. So I got the time game card and the mediumship card and the blank card, which I always think the blank card's super fun because it's emphasis of you get to choose. It's like a infinite possibility card a little bit. So with what's coming in for your energy, Angela, it's letting me know that within your work this year, within your creativity, within the way that you have time just for yourself, in all those categories, the knowing and understanding of how channeling is going to come into your life. Maybe you already do channel. So channeling can be a lot of things. It could be like automatic writing. It could be like we're painting or drawing, and all of a sudden, this energy comes through us, and we go, "Wait a second, what did I just draw? What did I just, what did this is really cool. Like I didn't expect to draw this when I first started, or I didn't expect to write this right? Things like that, because it's almost like this right? This energy comes through you. So I do think there's going to be a lot more occurrences of that. And so whether or not this is newer for you, it either inspires further or it starts opening you up to this world, a new way to be creative, a new way to actually find things to your advantage. So I said earlier, this occurs in work too. So I do believe that it occurs in situations, not just when you're with yourself. You're going to have like these little downloads or these little messages come to you. And so you could be around people and all of a sudden you think of someone's grandmother, or all of a sudden you get this word and you're like, where, I won't say that. That's not mine. Where did it come from? And just more experiences like that and go, I'm having some more unique experiences. Like some of this stuff is clearly happening. So I want to put that out. And I want to put the time game out there for you too. So I feel like really life is going in a way for you where you do have a lot of choices. And sometimes when we have time to make our choices, or when we're kind of learning about ourselves, sometimes life is giving these questions of what am I going to do, or which way am I going to go, and should I really know this quickly? Well, it's letting me know that when we have extra time, we shouldn't rush it. Okay? That means we've been given that time for a purpose so we can open up, we can be patient, we can be gentle, we can be delicate with ourselves. And those are very important skills. We have to teach others to be gentle and delicate with us. Life sometimes is a little too harsh and it's a little too intense. And so really take this period of how you're growing and opening up to nourish that delicate and gentle side of you, more of that feminine nature. It's a strength, that really is. But and interact with how life meets you within that, and interact with those who honor those qualities and find the importance of those qualities too as well. Invite more of those people into your life. So that is what I'm getting for you, my love. And away we go. So scrolling down. Interesting, definitely resonates. The time element has been coming up lately, like I'm going too slow, but then realizing all divine timing, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Yeah. The great thing is when we have extra time and we're not like pushed up against a wall, we do have more choices. We do. And we have to start. It's good to know that we have that, because we go, What's really me and what do I really want?" And explore. So we're given sometimes time at pockets within our life because we need to explore, whether it's inward or outward. A lot of times it's inward, but that's your ticket to go inward. Time is a very, very precious commodity, and I would say it is a gift. Look at it how it is a gift, because it's very precious. Okay, let's see. Someone asked a question. Has it been good lately in the station since all retrograde is over? That's hilarious. So I don't know, like subconsciously, someone. Oh, let me just check in with Angela really quick, and I'll go back to that because I like that question about Mercury retrograde. Angela says, "I'm not sure why the exploring of my passion is so hard right now." Um, yeah, yep. That's okay. That's okay. That is part of learning for yourself. That highlights how you need to explore and sample and go, "Yep, this feels more like me. This makes me happier." So anything that gives you like joy, that's your pathway to your answer. It doesn't mean just because you have joy, you found everything, but it leads you. I promise you, it leads you. Anytime you experience joy, it invokes happiness within your soul, and so you find more things, and you go, okay, I know what ignites me. So check if I feel that. I should be around people who make me feel like that. I should be around jobs that make me feel like that. I feel I have to be around environments that make me feel like that. S- some of these subjects, they all have a familiar theme. I think my soul really opens up when I'm around things like this. And it's just, we have to learn how to trust ourselves. But first, you have to just get out and explore, inward or outward, right? Just get out there and explore yourself, get out and explore the world. And you have to honor yourself as you do it. You have to honor yourself. Um, that's what comes up as I'm kind of in your energy for a second, Angela. I feel like when you've been at, I don't feel like you shy away from experiences. I really don't. I just feel like sometimes like other people influence how you feel about things. Like they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do this. Do you want to come along?" And you're just like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And it turns out not to, be a detriment to you purely. It doesn't. Like, you have some cool experiences, but it's like you weren't the initial energy that ignited, "Hey, do you want to do that?" And so to have more of that with people, invite some people along, like, "I want to do this. Would you like to come along with me?" And then you are leading the energy, not like kind of just showing up because you're like, "Well, yeah, like I came because it sounded nice. And so I am listening to myself. It's not like I didn't want to be here." That's great. Cool. Take in the learnings from there, but more where you're leading, and more when you're trying and it's coming solely from you, and then you invite other people along with you, or you just dive in by yourself. Okay, so I'm going to give that to you to help um, understanding your passion. Okay, all right. And then Jesse Cat, hello, and you're talking about the retrograde. So that's sorry. The station mentioned that the retrograde has been crazy at the station, but today it ended. Yay. Yeah. I So with astrology, sometimes I just I don't have my thumb on astrology. I don't. I'll have my thumb a little bit more on numerology, as you know. But I was aware that it was Mercury retrograde. And it's almost like I think a part of me goes, "Okay, good. I'm glad I know Mercury retrograde, and I'm glad I have a heads up, because technology gets funky, right? It just does. And I find sometimes there's communication misunderstandings during that time with like friends and family. You can have that too as well. But I go, okay, all right, I don't want to think about how Mercury's in retrograde because I don't want to give it more energy than than it needs. So I'll like really try to downplay that Mercury's in retrograde. That being said, yeah, I've had internet issues today, and I'm very lucky. They happened right literally after um I was a guest on Deidre's show this morning. It was 8 o'clock my time, and it was a self-care healing show, a self-care show, excuse me. And like within, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that, like my internet just went down and all the electricity in the house went off and people were working outside. I don't know why they were working outside, but they were working outside and they were here for a couple hours. So literally right before the show started, it came back on. So Mercury retrograde may be over, but it's still been fun. So that's that's just on my end. Oh, you say yes, you're right. And remember your microphone kept shutting off. Oh yeah, yeah. That was like a couple weeks ago. I don't keep track of sometimes with when Mercury retrograde started. I'll see it around, but I won't recall it because I'm trying to push it away. I'm just like, no, Mercury retrograde won't get me. Um, and I had a USB cable. Luckily, that was the only problem that just needed to be um, exchanged. So I was really lucky. See, I want to manifest the luck even during Mercury retrograde. I'm like, if I have a technology issue, it will be fixed. But yeah, the USB, I know this is random me talking about, but the USB cord was weird. My microphone was literally shutting off if I happened to just tap the microphone, and I was out of town, so I had like tables, right? Like this is a desk, this is sturdy in my office right here. But if I had a smaller table, which I would when I was like traveling, any little shift, my microphone would just shut off. So that was in December. That was in late December, early July. So oh goodness. And then yeah, Jessica, I'll pull some cards for you. Why not, right? Brought up Mercury retrograde. And that needed to be talked about for a reason. Okay. Okay. Mm. Okay. All right. So this is cool. I got cards, and they're cards that I think are going to give you a different perspective. So that's really good. Um, so what I'm getting with some of the cards that I'm seeing is it's really important to trust yourself through struggles. It's really important that even if it seems like things aren't lining up, or you know when goals kind of like don't go the way you expect and you're just like, what the heck, this is who I am, why isn't it manifesting, like what the heck, or it just feels like things are really wonky. And so I got all these cards that symbolize like you have to meet the moment in such a way that you believe it, even though everything around you doesn't exactly support it. And then you create this bastion, this well within yourself where you can constantly like nourish yourself from your own well. You create this bastion where it doesn't matter if the conditions are difficult. I'm not saying that life bends over backwards for things to happen, but it's like none of the obstacles matter as much. You're just like, okay, this will happen. This will happen one way or another. So it's like the belief, because the belief is important, yes, but this is about manifesting, physically manifesting from the belief. The belief is so important, but we got to believe and walk within the belief so much that it creates like a way that opens. Okay. So I'm getting the opening light card, but as I pulled the opening light card, so that's like expanding your, yourself. It's about opening yourself and having like this faith and having this really positive experience in self-confidence, really positive experience with like that you're supported by the universe. Like you knew it was right in your heart, and all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, I conquered that. No matter what came my way, I conquered that because this was me, and I knew it was supposed to happen, and I knew I had the ability to have it happen. It's like it's letting me know that like sometimes there's like the holding back, like I don't know, I don't think I have enough, I don't think I have enough energy, or I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Of course that's me, of course I will be able to do that. But it's like you're stopping yourself even though you don't mean to stop yourself, because you're just like, "Oh, logically that can't happen right now." And that's okay. I'll still work, like you don't abandon it. And so you have like you do already have this tenacity, but it's like a new tenacity has to come into your life where you're like, I I just know it needs to get done. It's going to get done no matter what. And so I had to move in a way where I create that for myself undoubtedly. And I will be shown that it's quite difficult, but I still walk through the fire. And so this highlights a very emotional time because the emotion makes us nervous or fearful when we're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone in this capacity, because it's not safe for our old self to do this. It's just not. And in fact, like when you're jumping off the cliff and you're asking spirit to meet you, it doesn't register as safe at all. But with the higher concepts of life and the higher concepts of faith, it actually makes perfect sense. So you got to jump off the cliff. And so it's letting me know you got to tear apart your former life in a way of all what you believed of how your life operates and all of what you're willing normally to accept. So this is about radical self awareness in the fact that you have these goals that are so important to your heart and they've been on the back burner, and to have that radical self transformation, which will lead to more of the confidence with the complete faith of spirit. Like, just commit, just do it. Even if it goes wrong, just do it. Like, a lot of times, like, I will, commit to things and they're kind of crumbling all around me. And then I go, just, I know it's going to be okay. I know it's going to be okay. I know on that day or that time, we will get it off the ground. But things around me might seem like you should pull out. This is not a good idea. Or, and if you get that awareness correct, like you should listen to your higher self. You should listen to your higher self if you're purely getting that. But sometimes I get that because I'm 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 afraid. And so if I know it's just my fear, but I know that spirit, and I feel from my higher self that spirit's like, it's going to be okay. It doesn't matter what's crumbling around me. If spirit told me it's going to be okay and I should do this, then I get there. Now, if I'm freaking out and spirit's like, this is not really a good idea, pushing yourself, like, we want you to push yourself if it's right, and we're gonna like get you unafraid, but it's like, don't just push yourself and then you freak yourself out purely. So I'm giving you context, right? But this is all about you trusting yourself. This is all about tearing down your former life and what you knew and what you think you can do, and what you allow for yourself and what you put on back burner for yourself, because you, you're like, well, I have to do life. And it's just like, well, yeah, life is so much more than that. And you're so much more than what you are doing right now. And so break, you have to break your, you have to break things open, and it's going to make way for new life. And that's how you're going to get things done. That's how it comes in. Um, this is a time where you need to learn about yourself in this capacity. So it's like things don't get off the ground until this lesson is handled. So this is a time, it's difficult. It's difficult, it's emotional, but You got to break through. And it's time to completely transform. That's what I'm getting. It's a big one. It really is a big one. Okay. Yes, everything resonates. I needed this, Kelly. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you too. You got a lot of, when I get some of like those cards in that way, I'm just like, oh, like I can't just like, you can't just go hard on somebody and say like, this is an opening up period. You gotta tear down your former life. No, you don't do that. But as I'm getting these cards, I'm like, wow, like these are really intense themes. Like these are really intense themes of how your energy is at that point where it's like, okay, can't do it any other way anymore. So I say that with love and motivation. And it's going to be a very, very evolving time. Okay, so let's see here. Let me pull. Let's see here. Cool. Your attitude. So Keith says my attitude number is 9. And okay, yeah, your attitude number is 9. You gave me your birthday. Let's go into it. I like how Courtney's like, I'm waiting for my appointment at the dentist self-care. Yeah, that is very important. Heck yeah. Put up your hands for self-care, everybody. It's pretty huge. It's pretty important. Okay. So let me get your numbers, Keith. Okay. Nice. Then I'm just one more. Okay. Okay. So, Keith, you have a lot of people numbers. A lot of people numbers. So, honestly, you're your happiest when you're around people. You find the most inspiration, you find the most utility. There's a lot of lessons and creativity that comes from that dynamic. You find yourself actually very energized by being around people. Okay. So I'd have to look at more of your chart to really go into kind of some specifics because I am seeing some themes as I talk. And some of the things that highlight itself are just making sure that you have boundaries. Sometimes when we are connected to people, like we just naturally will go overboard to help them, or we just naturally want to uplift others around us. So it creates like these dynamics where we live our life not just solely for ourselves because we are so social, or we find ourselves so empathetic in social environments. Okay, so the empathy comes across really big here. Within your life path, like in order to be really fulfilled, you have to be in an environment where you are essentially performing. Okay, so that involves um, where you're using your voice, where you're using your talents, and you have to be in a place where other people hear you. So they're gaining benefit from the fact that you're stepping out and stepping forward. So this can manifest itself in a way through jobs where you are in an artistic career, whether it's music, whether it's speaking, whether it's singing, comedy, whether it's emceeing, or it could be in a office setting where you are the one presenting the presentations. You're the one that deals with the communications of people, like within meetings, where people have to stop and listen to you, where people have to be in your presence, and you are working with a group dynamic. Your mission in life is to be heard, and you have things to say, so you naturally keep people entertained. Okay, so no, that's very, very important. And with an attitude 9, I always have fun with an attitude 9, because the attitude 9, it's like it's such a fun little tidbit, but when someone has an attitude 9, they don't have someone the romantic partners, like across their life, they've been quite different, or what they find attractive within men or women are quite different. Okay. So from partner to partner or from crush to crush, you don't have a specific physical type. It's like, it's very much how you feel with like how you feel from them, or it's just something else that you find attractive. It's not how someone looks with a certain type. So I always find fun in that. But it just lets me know that ultimately, like, you, wherever you go, you just have to assert your worth and assert your boundaries, because you're so good with people that sometimes you don't like stand up for yourself in a way that you even think about, because you're like, well, yeah, that wasn't, I really wouldn't go for that, but I didn't foremostly think about that when there was an issue. So really start having more awareness with how you act with people, or how people act around you in the group dynamics, and how you really want to set pace for yourself, and the people that you really do want around you, and who the good ones are. Just to really, really reaffirm those concepts. You might feel like you're strong in them or not. I just, to really enforce those concepts within all those people numbers that you have. You're in a cycle of 7, so this is going to be a quieter year for you. Just heads up. Sometimes when we have a lot of slower energy within our month or our year, it feels like we're bored a little bit, or we're just like, we feel like we're kind of wandering. So this is a time for self-discovery. I encourage you to go into yourself for some more spiritual development, redefine some concepts within your life. um, Take a trip where you can really spend time on yourself and nourish yourself. But this year is going to be quite slow, and it's not in harmony for some of your, unless you have other 7s or other numbers that complement this. It might feel a little bit like, ah, what a slow year. So just heads up, heads up. Quite different than last year, quite different than 2022. And then going into January, it's a good time to just keep track of health, and a good time to just keep track of um, what's really floating to the surface. So listen to what your body's telling you. If you have an ache or pain, work with that. If you have something that's been coming up routinely, go see somebody to help you discover what that is. 8 deals with the body a lot. So just be really conscious about your body. And That's really, really important. So just heads up. I really like the month of, I'll give you one more thing. 1, 2, 3. Let me see where that is. So I really like the month of May for you. May is going to be a really good month for you. So just heads up with that. Write that down. Remember I said it. May is going to be awesome for you, Keith. So, oh, and you asked me a question. I'd completely on the question. What would be a good thing for me to focus on? Oh, okay, we talked about that. So like, this is a quieter year, so I just really want you to focus on going within. If you can travel and have it be a quieter trip where you can really have time for yourself, and to really get your ducks in a row. Um, with what you've been taking on and what you're going to allow further within your life. Concepts like that, and forgiveness with that time too, with the past. That comes up within your energy, and this is a perfect time to do that. So just for January, just pay attention to your body. Okay. Let's see. I'm scrolling down to the bottom. So very true. Thank you so much for understanding, Keith. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, so we have time for one more. Let's see. Let's see. We'll pull some cards. I know Aspen. We'll pull some cards for Aspen and Stephanie. That's how we'll do it. Let's see. So we're at the ends, but I always try to get a couple in at the ends. And Stephanie is awesome, and Aspen is awesome. So I'm happy to do it. Okay. Stephanie. Okay. Yeah. One more card. Okay. So what I'm getting is, I'm getting the summer song card. So just prioritize having fun. Prioritize really the joy of life. I talk about joy a lot and how it's so important. And so we can do things where we go, I like this, I'm going to do it. You could be prioritizing your rest, you could be prioritizing doing the things that you know are good for you. But like, really look into like, are you stimulated from that? Are you feeling like you're getting a burst of life or, a regeneration other than, oh yeah, I like that. So the summer song card is all about how much we're having fun in life. And there's plenty of things that I like in life. Like I have favorite foods, I have favorite activities, but sometimes those activities just don't do it for me the same way, right? Or sometimes I might throughout the week or month, I'm going to my favorite restaurants and I'm really thankful and appreciative and enjoying that food, for instance, because I'm like, this is delicious. I'm happy to be here. But that food, that gorgeous food is just like, it's not lighting me up. It's not lighting me up. I'm not like, this is what I needed. I'm just like, I could have really happy to be here, but I could have stayed at home and maybe I needed to do something else, because like we need what are your needs? How are they getting met? And enjoy life. So it's time to do things differently. Do things differently. Um, there is an emphasis on what to do with finances and growing finances. So that comes up. And then I got the health card and to spend some extra time really caring with your health and looking into your health, slowing things down. Just, I would honestly, I'd invest in more things like with self care and wellness because the cards that I'm getting, and it's just like, I just feel a little bit extra too depleted and it's just like we need more energy in our corner and more things to support ourselves and maybe things that are not conventional that we normally do or things that we haven't done in a long time. It's just like we need a different routine. We need a different routine for the balancing of your body, for your energy levels, for that joy. And yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I'm getting the wealth and finance card, and when I see a card, I'll like springboard off of it. But I just there's emphasis on wealth and finance, and it's like it's not coming in exactly how I think you. I'll say it again. There's just been emphasis on growing it and what to do with it, and I don't know. There's a question mark over that for me. As soon as I see it though, I see like this cow and that equals abundance to me. Whenever I see a cow, it represents abundance and growing and nourishing. So that's what I see. So it's in a position that's strong. It's in a position that's good, but so maybe it's an ode to that's strong and there's a building of that, but I want you to look into the health energy and I want you to look into the joy energy that flank it because that's not properly supporting the energy for even more abundance. So that's what I get. And hopefully that makes sense, Stephanie. Okay. And so then we're going to the last one is Aspen. And pray for an average just in case, but in general, whatever it is, I may need to hear regarding relationship with the okay, got it. Relationship with the father of your daughter. Got it. Okay. Cool. Let's pull. Relationship. Emphasis on relationship. Emphasis on relationship. Father of the daughter. Okay. So, yeah. So there's like the first thing that I see is like there's stress here. There's stress here and not seeing eye to eye, and it's creating some topsy-turviness within the family. And actually, there's a lot of emphasis on career at the moment for you and possibly for him himself as well. But I'm getting the career vocation when I ask about this. So, and the career is putting stress on the family. Okay. So, and I'm asking about him, so I'm going to talk more about him than I am about you, but this is in relationship to you. So it's like there's too much emphasis on career, or something within the career is causing stress where um there isn't there isn't that flow and a time and attention that completely can be present within the family. Um I want to get one a card for this. It's at the top. Okay. So I do feel like the relationship is a source of stress. It's just a source of stress, and working together is difficult sometimes, and it kicks up all this energy of um not feeling like things are coming together in multiple capacities. So my advice as I pull all these cards is, when we have a partner we can't control, or when we have a former partner and they're still involved in our life, we can't control what they're going through, their choices, how they're going to act, even though there is a commonality of a child involved. So sometimes our energy gratefully influences another energy, and so that's very apparent, because if there's stress, right, within one person, it leaks and spills out into the other person. So what I'm seeing is there's a lot of obstacles that would create stress. So what happens is you're going to have to be in a place where your inner peace is so strong it spills out towards him, where he starts calming down or actually feeling more relaxed just in your presence. So it's a tall order, okay? Cuz like sometimes I'm around some individuals, and I've noticed that if I'm around people who are angry and I'm like very just open and natural, and I'm not really thinking about things, all of a sudden I feel like a little bit angry, right? Or if someone's like really sad, I just feel like all of a sudden I'm a little bit sad. And so I start to become aware and start to having to take charge of my own energy and saying, okay, I'm going to be I'm not gonna be dominant with them, but I'm gonna be dominant in my own energy, where I'm gonna hold space for myself, and I'm gonna find this alignment, and so this will spill over into everything else. And so I think that's the key. That's the key with working with some of these obstacles. It's kind of funny, because if there's that inner calm and that inner peace, it's like people just aren't as charged around you, or they start handling things totally differently, and you're like, "Wow, what changed? Like, it seems like my life got better," you know? It seems like people started treating me different because of that, and it's because of the energy exchange. So, hold strong. This has to come from you. Has to come from you. There's an energy law where we either default to the highest vibration or the most intense vibration. And so a lot of times we're not conscious about the vibration we bring. And so we'll just default to the greatest intensity, and it's not always the highest positive intensity. And sometimes it can default to other things. So I want you to, before you talk to him, before you see him, or with that, to meditate, to talk to either the universe, God, angels, whoever you find restoration and strength from. And you do that before you call, you do that before you're in the presence of the person, and just surround yourself in grace. Surround yourself in grace, and continue to surround yourself in grace. And I do think aspects of the relationship will transform in a way where he's just not even aware of. It just will go easier. It just will. We welcome easier. We welcome everything to just be a little bit gentler, right? So that's what comes forth. You said, yes, it's been a battle. So I understand trying to have inner peace and pour over. And it's obviously been a battle on my end, dealing with my emotions and navigating it all. I think you're a really powerful woman. And I do think this is going to be a tremendous, tremendous, you can call it, a talisman. You can call it a weapon, but it's a positive one of how you combat what's been so intense within the interplay of how your relationship thus has been. So that's a huge, important piece of it. Please know that. And so everybody, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Whether I got to you or not, thank you for being here. Light in the world, Courtney, everyone who came in, thank you so much. You will see me again on Friday, and we will be with Anita, and she's an animal communicator. We'll be diving into her experience in her world, and I'm excited to have the interview series back, and we flip it sometimes, but yeah, it's going to be on the 20th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central as usual. We will see you then. And from that, please go with light, love, luck. And I'm going to say laughter this time. And don't forget to live, everybody. See you soon. See you on Friday. Take care.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.